All right, my friends, welcome back to the podcast. And this is a big welcome back moment because the podcast has been on hiatus for the past few months. So, of course, I'm joined here with our three of our campus pastors, Mr. Mark.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, buddy. Mr. Corey.
Hello.
And JP Mumley.
Howdy.
Hey, you guys. So, welcome to the podcast studio. Welcome back to the podcast. It seems appropriate since
pause for a second. What's your name?
And my name's Matt. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Just for the audio listeners, Matt. You know, there's visuals. But.
So, in terms of being on break for the past few months, we got to hear a highlight from the summer, and I want to hear it. Family highlight, vacation highlight, ministry highlight. You get to pick one.
Yep.
All right, JP. I'm staring at you.
Well, at East Campus today, I said that it's a celebration of what summer was, but back to like routine, and that is personally just very true for me. I had a summer that was just packed full of like stuff, so I'm really looking forward to like the return of routine, because my summer was full of great stuff, but it was just like kind of one thing after the next. I got two highlights for you. We'll go extremes, okay? First is we did something we've never really done before. I don't know if we'll do it again. But I took my family to Yellowstone, which is cool, but we rented an RV.
Yes, the Mumley family in an RV.
Yes, there's a lot of features,
yes.
Including...
You got to pause for a second because I know you're getting into it, but we all know how many people are in your family.
Yeah.
Do the numbers, like help them feel it.
I got 5 kids, 11, 10, 7, 6, and 1 next week. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is perfect for an RV.
Yes.
Well, one benefit is you actually can send a kid to time out in your car. It's like, that's amazing. Go back to the back of the RV for 5 minutes because this is not working right now.
Are we talking like bus driver, or are we talking like steering wheels like more in front like a car?
It's like, if you guys know the New Heights party bus, the Ford, it's exactly like that. Okay. Except instead of like a 15-passenger rig on the back, you got this like pseudo house thing.
Bed, a kitchen table, a sink, and a bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy. And there's a lot of things I loved and a lot of things that were not easy, but it was great. It was great. So that's like maximum like action.
All right, but give it to us. How many days are you in the RV together as a family?
6.
6 days.
Yeah, we went like Sunday after church.
Okay.
We got back late Saturday.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have mastered the RV? Like if I was like, can you drive an RV for me? Are you stressed about it still or no?
No. Driving a big rig, I've done that a lot through New Heights. So it wasn't so much the mechanics of driving a big vehicle. It was like how you drain the sewage, like black water, gray water.
Yes. All that septic, all that.
What you can run off the generator versus what you can run off the car battery.
Yeah.
And so if you want to use the microwave, you gotta do the generator. But if you want to just turn the lights on,
and you're renting it, so it's not yours.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. All of that mechanics. About halfway through the week, I started feeling more confident. Like, I can do this.
Halfway through.
Yeah. No, it was like walking on faith, man. I'm like, this could be a disaster. But let's just try it. Yeah. So anyway, the flip side of that is, honestly, a highlight is I took Abby out on a date in the middle of summer, and we just took 2 like camping chairs and went to Fred Meyer and bought dinner from the grocery store, and borrowed Corey's car, which was he's just got I think you're gonna get rid of it, but it's like a Jeep with no top on it.
Yeah.
And just sat by the Columbia River, and so like that's the opposite. It was just super peaceful and like connecting time with Abby, and honestly, that's one of my highlights.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of summer was like the RV trip to like go, family, people, and then there's like 2 hours with Abby on the Columbia River, just sitting, eating.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Anyway.
All right. Well, welcome back from summer.
Yes. Glad to be back. Glad to be back.
All right, Corey, you got a highlight for us?
Yeah, like personal
Sure.
vacation highlight. So I would say JC and I did it overnight with friends and with kids at Silver Star Mountain, and that was just I was so amazed that like this is in our backyard. Like,
yeah, dude.
For bang for the buck, what I consider like cost to get there, time to get there. It was just like, we should do this every summer.
And when you say Silver Star, I'm like thinking of the hike. Like, I've been to the top of that.
Yep.
Is that like in that area?
So the uppermost like parking lot, only a
like
mile.
Washougal side or Battleground side?
Washougal side.
Yep.
So the lot maybe a mile down from there's a kind of turnout spot where we just did one overnight with friends, and it was a blast. It was like perfect weather. perfect,
Clear
sunset
day.
up there. You can see
Yeah.
all 4 peaks.
That's cool. But Corey, it's not a campground. I mean, you're just camping on the side of the hill,
Yeah.
right?
Dispersed camping.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're looking for a clearing in the woods, and that's just where you're going to go set up the tent, set up camp. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a good sign when you say that you just said we should do this every summer.
Yeah.
If you come back saying something like that, you know it went well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And dispersed camping can sound pretty extreme. But Corey has a 270-degree awning that comes out
Yes,
from his car.
that's true.
He's got a tent on top,
Yeah.
He brought the stove,
The kids enjoy that.
Dude, totally.
JC and I are in the ground tent. So
They're
we're
ground tent now.
All right.
the kids are on the rooftop tent with a 3-inch memory foam mattress.
Yeah, they got a TV. They got a little iPad. They're watching the Disney movie up there.
Well, I mean, in comparison, so like I mentioned in the message this weekend that I took the boys camping last weekend, and there I'm at a state park where it's just one campsite next to the next campsite. So if a guy sneezes 3 campsites down, you hear him, and everyone's like, "God bless you," and people like cranking the tunes,
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're having the rocking the
Yeah.
music
Oh,
and the
yeah.
generators.
Yeah.
So I mean, you
Yeah.
feel like you're camping with about 400 or 500 people around you.
Yep.
Compared, that's why I'm like, oh, that's what you're doing. That's real camping.
Yeah.
I mean,
I always like to say, camping is what you want to make it. And you all have the same goal. You want to get away from life's routine and just enjoy time. So for people who have an RV and do the glamping thing or in cabins, whatever, I'm like, that's their version of camping. And I'm not saying that isn't real camping.
You're not hating on it.
Yeah, no. If you're having fun with people, see, that's our goal. We want to be around the people we want to be around. So you get to control that a little more. And
Which is why you didn't invite us, right?
Exactly.
I get it.
No campus
I even
package.
asked if I could come, and you said no.
Yes. Yep.
Corey, was there a burn ban while you were camping?
Yes, except for if you had a bottom and sided, stove or whatever. So I
Okay.
brought my solo stove, and we were able to
Yes.
use that.
Yeah.
Yep.
When we went camping, it was burn ban, absolutely nothing.
Oh.
And I even thought about, we have a little propane,
Coleman
like a propane, like camp.
stove.
No, it's not. Yeah, we have a stove, but a fire pit,
Yeah.
like with a
Okay,
propane
yeah.
tank. So
Yeah.
it's,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so it's like well, it's not like an actual like campfire.
It creates a flame.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I should load that up. We should bring it. And then last minute, I was like, I don't know if we got space, and so I didn't bring it. And then when we got there, they're like, and no propane fire pits either. Like,
Oh,
so I'm like,
wow.
oh, I'm really glad I didn't bring that.
Yeah, that's
so
intense.
Yeah.
So
You're
then-
Central Oregon.
Yeah, Central Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got wildfires and all that. But then the funny part is, then what do you do at night? Like, because normally you just sit around the campfire
Yep.
and tell stories and talk. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
click the lantern on.
It's a lantern.
Yep.
Go to
Lantern,
bed.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lantern
So-
and cards.
Yep. So
Well,
we brought board games and
Yeah.
cards and all that. Yeah.
What made it glamping for me this time was I brought the Blackstone, and I did a ribeye steak on it
Ooh.
Wow.
at like 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Yes.
Whoa.
I was like, Jace, the one thing I want is to eat a good meal. I want to cook a steak. She's like, fine, you do you. And
Dude, that same steak in your house is good. But that exact same steak
Dude.
outdoors,
Yep.
I don't know.
Camping makes food taste so
Dude,
good.
like a
Yeah.
plain bagel not toasted with cream cheese, and you're out there in the wild, and you're like, "This is the best bagel I've ever had."
Yes. Even my kids, when I took my kids camping, they're like, Dad, this is so good. We're eating like top ramen.
Yeah.
Dad, you're so good at making food. I'm like, that's the only time you've ever said that in your life.
It's such a weird thing, but it's
Yeah.
a real thing. Yeah, I love it.
It's real. All right. So you were out camping for one night, 2 nights?
just one night
Okay.
as an
yep.
overnight.
Yep. That's good. All
That's
right.
what you can do with 3 kids
Yeah.
and really have it still be an enjoyable time
I'm with you.
I agree.
Yep.
at their ages,
Yep.
So
All right. I'm with you. All right. Corey, that's
Yeah,
good.
man.
Mr. Mark, how about you?
I got 2. I would say personally, family side of things. It's a summer of firsts for Nicole and I. Like Sutton just turned 1. Her birthday's August 21st. So like that was fun. Sutton's walking.
Oh, yeah.
That's the summer. She's saying Dada. Today I learned a lesson, guys, today, which is at West. I always do the rounds. It's like middle of the service. Like I'm trying to go to every classroom. I'm trying to go to the middle school room. I'm trying to do it. And I did the rounds today, and Sutton's in class.
No, dude.
Uh-oh.
Dude,
Uh-oh.
yep. I felt so bad. Oh man. And
She sees you. She wants you.
the volunteers are like, yeah. And she comes over and she's like, and I'm like, this is so great. She's so excited. She's cute. She's got a little pony sticking up.
Yes.
She's got her overalls on. I'm loving it. I kissed her on the forehead. I said, okay, all right, I'll see you later. And I take one step away and she just blew
Yeah.
up. And
Waterworks.
that's not like
no.
her typically. And I'm like, oh, I look at the volunteers. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I learned, never do it again.
Yeah.
I will not do the rounds in her classroom.
I will see you after service.
Yeah, my bad. So like that's been so fun, man. Like she wants to grab me. She said blueberry the other day, and it's like the cutest blueberry you've ever heard. You know, that kind of stuff. So
Love it.
I love that, man.
Kids at that age, it's like everything they do is magic. Just so I mentioned Gemma's one next week, and like Abby had her in a front pack this morning. And we're talking to some people, and she just takes her arms out of the front pack and just starts to like lean towards me. She like just wants.
Yes.
It's not a big deal. It makes me feel like $1 million.
Oh yeah, man.
You know.
Oh yeah.
That little stuff is just powerful.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's so we're loving that. And then I would say probably my highlight of the summer. I went to Black Lake. I was a cabin leader at Black Lake, and I got to be with your dad in a cabin and a guy named Jeffrey Reams, and man, it was just awesome. It was so cool. It was so good for me. It was kind of a good reset for me in my faith. I became a believer at Black Lake.
That's
it was
cool.
called Coeur d'Alene then, you know. But it was just kind of like, right. This is it. This is why to see 350 high schoolers at our camp and just all on their own faith experience and pursuing God at their own pace and trajectory. The Lord was really kind to me in that space and kind of brought back some of the basics that, you know, you kind of need to have put back in front of you over and over and over again. So that was a huge one for me. Black Lake was awesome.
I've heard you say that before about Black Lake being a highlight for you,
Yep.
and it just
This summer.
last summer, and I just love that you went to serve, but it was spiritually meaningful to you personally. I just love that.
Yeah. I talked about that in a version of when we did the Pivotal series, Pivotal Moments, talking about Moses. And it's like, listen, when you say yes to what God's kind of inviting you into, you get to do it with him.
Yeah.
And then when you're doing it with him, you get to know him more. You know, there's
Yeah.
this intimacy that's there in that space. So I felt that at Black Lake. I mean, getting up, I'm not the best morning guy. I was getting up every morning at 5 a.m. One, because I'm soaked in sweat because I brought my winter bag, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to get a shower, which is only possible at 5 a.m. And then I'm going to read my Bible on the bench. And I was so motivated to get up and do that. And that space was a really good space for me. So
But
it was
also
cool.
at Black Lake, for any one of the leaders that are there, it is a late night, early morning kind of a thing. So I mean, you're burning
4
the candle
hours.
at both
You're
ends.
you get 4 hours of sleep.
Stop.
man.
Yeah.
Dude. So when I hear you say 5 a.m., that means you were running all day the day before and going to bed probably really late.
Yeah,
so
you
that's
can do
impressive.
the rounds,
Yeah.
you know. And there was 3 cabin leaders in my cabin, so one of us could go be more of a mobile leader at the evenings to make sure like kids are in cabins and like trash is picked up, and so typically I'd do the rounds and then hit the sack at some point, you know, midnight or 1 a.m.
That's good.
That's cool.
Yep.
What about you, Matt?
I mean, you heard me mention the camping trip, and that's and so that's always what we've affectionately called the man venture in our household. That like me and the boys look forward to that every single year, and every year it's a little different. So as I said, this year we did go camping, and we went to a state park in Oregon, and then invited my dad. With my dad, he brought his boat. So then we have a boat that we can go boating out on the lake, and it's just perfect. It's a good time. Good time together every time.
Yeah, I love
we're there for two nights, and it's the classic like camping in the Pacific Northwest, because you're like, oh, it's Central Oregon. You're in the high desert. There's no possible way it's going to rain. We're the last weekend of August. You know, first weekend of September. It's just like conditions are perfect, except for it's freezing at nighttime. So when we show up and we set up the tent, get everything set up. Of course, in that moment, it's like the first rain that Central Oregon has seen in months. Months and months. And the sky just opens up. It's a downpour. And so we're sprinting around, putting the rain, the rain fly on the tent,
brutal.
Covering everything up. And it's just absolutely coming down like cats and dogs. And then it's done. And then sun comes out, everything dries up, and it's 75 degrees outside, and it's hot and warm, and we go launch the boat and go out in the boat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was camping that same weekend, Thursday, Friday, on Mount Hood, and I think I caught the only 2 rainy days
Of the summer.
of the entire summer.
Yep.
And it's not a lake where you want to swim,
Yep,
and we just couldn't swim because it was too cold and rainy. It's so funny. So I relate with that.
Yeah. It's powerful.
So Paul Heath is joining us in the studio.
Hello.
Paul.
Hello.
Buddy, always good to hear your voice. Always
Thank
good to
you.
see your face.
Thank you.
Give us a highlight.
Anything big happened in your life this summer?
We had a baby.
Yes! Congratulations to the Heath
Paul,
family.
tell them about the real thing, though.
No.
Tell 'em.
We had a baby.
Let 'em
and
know.
That's it.
Let them know what happened the other night.
No, I'm
Dude,
not
tell
gonna
them.
do
Come
it.
on, let
PR.
them know, dude. Let them know.
I'm not doing this.
Dude, I'll do it for you.
Dude, that's fine.
All
though.
right. Paul deadlifted 500 pounds, everybody.
500
pounds. So
I'm blushing over here.
you see him. He's looking good these days,
And
everybody.
just to clarify, that's 500 pounds all at once.
That's right.
I mean, maybe collectively in my life, I have lifted 500 pounds if you add up any weight I've ever picked
And
up.
I've seen the video. He did it pretty easily. He could gone up more. So you just got to get a belt for him.
Just got
The one he uploaded to YouTube?
Yeah.
That's going viral, that one?
Yeah, it's up, dude. So.
Yeah, that's it. I'm now a fitness influencer on YouTube. So,
Yes.
but we had a baby boy. It's been great. That was just a few weeks ago. So we're living life with 2 kids now.
Yes.
Paul, his name's Asa.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about how you guys came to that.
Well, we got pregnant when we kind of got the news about my dad at the same time that his cancer was back. And it was just a season of, well, we knew he'd be born in a season of healing. And so it means healer. And that seemed really appropriate. And that's where I was reading in the Bible kind of a few months into our pregnancy. And I really liked the name. And so it stuck.
It's a cool name,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
When you life with 2 kiddos now,
Uh-huh.
what's the biggest change for you and Emily?
I don't know. We're still so early in it that like when we're just sitting at home, it's not too hard because it's man-on-man defense. But whenever one of us has to do something or we're headed out of the house or whatever, that's when it gets really difficult. And we're still in that big learning curve. So Emily's doing it by herself today, the Sunday coming to church with 2 kids, and she rocked it. So
She did, Paul.
now I'll have to try and do that myself.
Okay.
I won't rock it, though.
You said you're still in the learning curve. Good news is that learning curve is pretty brief, just about 3 or 4 years.
That's great.
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
'Cause if there's more.
Right.
Yeah.
More babies on the way. Then about the time you're figuring out 2, then you get handed a 3rd.
That's right.
That made me think about your comment, this weekend when you said, if some families going through toddlers, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
There is light at the end of that tunnel.
You're like, just don't tell them about the teenage tunnel. Don't tell them about the next tunnel.
Look, you just take today. This is it. This is what I need to navigate through. So lots of fun stuff happened this past summer, lots of ministry updates, all of that. But then it also, clearly this weekend is the kickoff for fall and homecoming weekends. First venture into homecoming weekend for New Heights, and I want to talk about homecoming at New Heights, but obviously the bigger picture of homecoming comes to us from high school, college, all school stuff. So did your high school or college have a homecoming?
Yeah, my high school did. I don't think my college did.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite high school homecoming tradition out of all of them? I mean, because at high school,
Yeah.
high school homecoming, you got a high school homecoming dance, you got a homecoming football game,
Yep.
you crown a homecoming king or queen.
Yep.
You got all these homecoming, traditions.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the football team, and I remember like, oh yeah, there's a thing that happens at halftime. We voted in school, but the dance was a bigger deal at my high school. Sometimes they do more of a back to school dance. They like it's more fun and light. Versus homecoming was more formal at the school I was at. Like I wore a suit. That was my first school dance. And I remember, I was nervous and like doing that whole thing, getting photos and just like, so I remember my first school dance experience. We had a stretched Hummer, we put a couple extra dollars together for a stretch Hummer, and we thought we were so cool.
Well, if the alternative is, hey, mom and dad, you drive us in your station wagon,
Or let's have this-
which is what we did when I went to a school dance my freshman year, or you rent a limo. Yeah, I can understand how you want to go for a limo.
Yeah. And I remember being like, oh, this is nuts. So that was kind of that was the first high school dance for me.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Corey, JP, one of you guys.
Yeah, my high school did homecoming and more of the traditional, you think high school homecoming, football game, dance, all that. And then my college did homecoming as well, which was more like alumni come back and, it's a soccer game, volleyball game.
Yep.
JC played in the volleyball game homecoming, and that was significant for me. Just like, watching her, in action. Like she's a stud. Like you see her now as like a mom of 3, but she's an athlete. So that was always cool to watch.
That's
But
fun.
That's good.
high school, I'm not really in that like the dance scene. Like I ended up going my senior year. And this is why I don't go to dances. So this is going to be a little PTSD coming out, okay?
Hey, we're here for you.
I took this young lady to the dance, asked her. We both, kind of this mutual, well, we like each other. Well, dancing isn't really my thing. And she's like, goes on to be like a professional dance instructor. She actually went on to be Miss Illinois. So that's kind of like my 2 truths and a lie thing.
Yeah,
Like, I took
Yeah.
Miss Illinois the homecoming. She wasn't then, but okay, professional dancer, ballet dancer, or whatever. Then me, tall, skinny white guy, like never been on a dance floor before in my life.
Yep.
I'm not comfortable. I just kind of stand off the side. Well,
This is senior year.
yeah, senior year.
Okay, got it.
And having done no dances prior to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
Here we go.
standing on the back blue. You're just, goofing around with friends or whatever, hanging out with the guys. And, so in a way, some ways I wasn't a good date. In some ways, she wasn't a good date because she went and danced with all these guys. And then it was just a really awkward car ride home, bringing
That's
her
rough,
back.
dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that was I think I went to prom that year, but just went with friends. And it
Yeah.
was like, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
You don't do the take a date thing. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but I'll
Okay.
leave it at that.
That's
you
good.
know?
Let's leave it for another
Yeah.
session.
That's
Yeah.
good. JP?
Well, I grew up overseas. My school that I went to 3.5 years out of the 4, my high school, didn't have homecoming. But I did do the first half of my freshman year of high school at Seattle Christian School in South Seattle.
Okay. You're there for half a year.
Half a year.
Freshman year.
Yep.
First few months.
So I show up. I'm like, new school, new country, high school for the first time. There's so many stories, but I didn't know how to shop for clothes. I was wearing clothes that didn't fit me. My shoes were 3 sizes too big. I was as much a wreck on the inside as I looked with my misfit clothes on the outside.
Oh, JP.
I didn't know how to relate with people. I have so many stories from that 6-month period.
Oh.
But honestly, it's a piece of my spiritual story actually, because I just was like, this sucks. Like, I don't like this. I have no friends. I have all my friends. I'm totally known and accepted back in my home.
I'm a cool guy.
I'm okay, but I'm not here. Nobody, that's the guy that eats the pretzels in the corner of the room at break time, So anyway, I just decided to trust the Lord and like just keep being kind to people. Anyway, just started like chit-chatting with people. My backstory of being from Kenya stopped being something that made me weird and made me more like interesting. And then people realized, oh, he's not an alien. He's a person, and I can chat with him and whatever. Point is, I got nominated with these 2 other guys for Freshman Prince.
Okay. Homecoming Prince.
Homecoming Prince. Freshman, it's like there's the king
yes,
and queen
yep.
who are seniors, and
Seniors,
it's like
of course.
prince
Yep.
and princess for each class down below.
Yeah.
So we go, and I win Freshman Homecoming Prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
JP.
Can you
Guys,
believe that?
no.
JP.
I was shocked. Like, I mean, I knew I was, I don't know. By that time, I had friends. I was accepted. But honestly, it's like one of those times where you're not like, okay, God, you are faithful because I won the prize.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you didn't have to do that, God, but you did, and I'm overwhelmed by it, and I'm grateful. The girl I took won Freshman Princess. My older brother, as a sophomore, won Sophomore Prince.
No, it's all in the family.
Yeah.
Okay.
That whole
Yeah.
goofy
Yes.
thing. So I know it's a silly like popularity contest thing, but it felt significant to me, and I felt like, okay, God, you're very kind to me. So
Question.
I don't know,
Do you still have the crown?
dude. Okay, it was a little scepter.
Oh, okay.
Power.
Uh-huh.
And I kept it for way too long. I don't have it anymore, but I had it for years.
Go in there,
Good.
clean it up a little bit.
Little
Abby,
yeah.
Abby's
That's
like, JP, can we finally get rid of this?
I know. I kept it for a long time.
JP's like, yeah, I'll get rid of it. And goes and hides it in the bin in the garage. Never.
You move the garbage bins around just to make sure.
Dude, I love that, JP. I love this because you and I have known each other for, I don't know, 20 years or something. Maybe not quite 20 years. A long time.
Long time.
And there's this little details about you that I learn over time, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
That you were the homecoming prince your freshman year.
That's right.
That's fun.
Yep.
That's fun. That's
Yep.
fun. All right. But Paul, you got one over there?
Not really.
Okay.
No high school dances. I think I went to the football game freshman year, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think Multnomah does homecoming. Maybe they do. Somebody could tell me they do, but no college ones either.
Well, I went to a small private Christian university which did not have a football team. So then it's like, if they're gonna have a homecoming, where are they gonna base their homecoming around? So they have a great basketball team at the time. So homecoming, it was always in the winter months, not the fall season. And so our school, the big homecoming game would be this basketball game. And one of the traditions, the homecoming traditions, was everyone brings a roll of toilet paper with them to the homecoming basketball game. And then on the very first points that are put on the board for the team, then everyone chucks the roll of toilet paper, and it's just complete whiteout. Like, the place is covered.
Wow.
You know,
That's
you're
fun.
talking thousands of rolls of toilet paper.
It stops the game.
game.
Everyone knows it's coming.
Yeah, the ref gives the fans a technical, and then everyone cheers because, like, yeah, we know. and then the game stopped for now like 20 minutes while they clean up thousands and thousands of rolls of toilet paper.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's good.
There's a university, and I can't remember where it is. It's been shown a couple times, where they are completely silent until the first basket is scored.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it takes a while because the pressure's like building. And it's just, imagine being in a gym full of people.
It's just a bunch of shoes squeaking.
Packed at the brim. It's just silent. It's the sound of the game. That's it.
Yes.
And then eventually, and then they just go nuts. I mean, they're like stops the game. You know, like they're going crazy. And watching it, they've shown it a couple times when it like takes a while. It's like the pressure is building.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And the guy who gets the ball, it's like he's making the game winner, but he's making the first shot. That's it. But it's like the game winner. You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so cool. Yeah, it's such a great tradition.
I want to go look that up. That's fun.
This weekend, homecoming weekend, where we've said, and I know we said it at all of our campuses, that it's all about relationships. And it reminded me of, again, my college like homecoming, where I have been back to my college campus since I graduated, 20 plus years ago. And the sooner to graduation are that you return, the more people you know. And then the further that gets in the rearview mirror, the less and less people you know when you show up. So now if I show up to my college campus, really a highlight is I'll go visit a brick that has my name engraved on it.
Yeah, is that right? Yes, dude. Yeah. I know.
And it's like, 'cause sooner or later, you're like, I don't know anyone here anymore.
Yeah.
Like, professors, they're all, retired and gone. And
Where's that brick?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, should go look at the brick.
Well, that makes sense because everything about it is like, I don't feel like I belong here, but I do.
Yeah.
Man, I belong here. And then
yeah.
you see the brick and you're like, proof.
Yeah. Yeah. So anytime someone tells me, hey, Matt, I'm going to your alma mater, then I'm like, oh, go look for my brick. I'm like, pass. So thank you. All right. So we kicked off homecoming here at New Heights. Very first time we've ever hosted homecoming weekend. Guys, tell me about it. Bring me up to speed on your campuses. What was a highlight for you for homecoming weekend? And there's a lot. Do we need to run down like all the different stuff that's going down for homecoming?
Sure.
I mean, it maybe be helpful to say, like, we got 4 big weekends a year.
Right.
Christmas and Easter baked in. Every year they're going to be a big deal.
Yep.
And then move up weekend we made a big deal out of. We're going to do that every year.
Right. In the spring.
And then fall launch,
Yep.
beginning of September, coming out of summer into fall. It's a shift for our church. It's a strategic kind of shift in what we do between summers and school
bet.
years. So that's kind of the structure of our calendar year.
Right. Yeah. So then with homecoming launching all of our fall ministries and all of the fall groups that we have, our emphasis is connection with people within this Christ-centered community. So, and we do that in very real ways, like actually have people sign up for community groups, talk about support groups, let people know about the different groups that are happening. But then also there's just fun kind of New Heights, like it's baked into the DNA at New Heights is like we also have fun together. So there's a lot of fun stuff like cowbells at the door and pom-poms and concession stands. And a football toss where we put a foam football in the hands of every person who walks in the auditorium. We have them throw during the service, all that kind of stuff. So give me a highlight. How'd it go? How'd it go at your campuses?
I mean, at East Campus, it was a lot of fun. I mean, across our campuses, it may come up once or twice, but we just had a big turnout. So it's really fun to have a big crowd of people. I think that's a huge win. The connections that are happening in the lobbies, the signups that we're getting for community groups, like all that is fruit that the weekend is designed to bear.
Right.
You know, it's not just like, can we get the biggest crowd, or can we have the most flashy lobby activities? It's like, can we give people an excuse to hang around and to leave church having connected with people and to say, man, I love being a part of this church. And I really feel like that was happening. And I think one of the kind of silly things is we ended up, Mark and I and a couple other people drove through all the campuses on Tuesday of last week, delivering a bunch of gear.
Yep.
Most specifically, or most significantly, the inflatables. Like, you roll those inflatables up, it takes 4 people just to like roll the thing.
Yeah, just so everyone's clear, it's an inflatable bounce house.
Correct.
Yeah, not an inflatable balloon or something like that.
Sorry.
No, it's an inflatable bounce house that weighs thousands of pounds.
It's so
This morning,
because you had what's called the
slide.
single bay slide. It's super tall.
Yep.
The tons of canvas in that thing. So when you
Oh,
roll it up,
dude.
it's the biggest one we have in terms of when it's rolled up.
Yeah. I mean, when I was like, "How you think it's like 400 pounds?" and you're like, "No, dude, that's like 800 to 1,000 pounds. Like, no problem." We had 4 guys on it this morning getting it out, and I was like, "Guys, listen, it'll be easier if we just open it all up. We could spin this thing, no problem."
No,
Like,
dude,
so we
yeah.
open it all
No.
up, and we put it down, and we try to.
There's
spin
no
it,
way.
And
Yeah.
Nate Mueller says to me, "Oh yeah, no problem. This thing spins." Just like a top spins, no problem. And it was like we were dying.
That thing is massive.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, once we get this thing moving, we can't stop.
No, you
moving
cannot.
until we
An
stop
object
it.
in motion stays in motion.
So we're all
We're
like
like-
ripping on it and finally get it to where it's at.
That is a big, and you were like, I want the single bay single bay slide. It's like, okay.
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, great, take it.
We had the carousel bounce house, so it's like a ring
Right.
with like a pillar in the
Yep,
middle of
yep,
it.
yep.
Dude, underrated. That one should be our primary.
Wait, why is that?
It's so fun. Like, it's a
kids just keep jumping around and bouncing in circles.
No, not for the kids, for adults.
I'm looking at it going, because the other bounce houses are square castle one, which is
Yeah.
at the Battleground campus. And it's just a square and you bounce around. It's fine. But this one, it's like, as a kid, I think it would be way more fun. Just the shape of it, the ring.
I'm with you.
And that pillar,
yeah.
dude, you can bounce
Yeah, the middle
off it.
pillar.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
it's
Yeah.
really
That's good.
great. I haven't seen it set up in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
I'm hoping we could pick those up too. That we could do.
You know what? I haven't thought that through. Someone's like, "How are these getting back?" And I'm like, "I have not solved that problem yet."
Yeah. We
Oh, gosh.
Dude, when we talked
Okay.
about like, no, we'll
it's
just
gonna
put them
be-
in the back of pickup trucks. And then I'm like, I've got a 1,000-pound inflatable. There ain't no way we're picking this up into the back of a pickup truck.
Dude.
Yeah, or if the pickup truck is doing a wheelie all the way back to the Central Vancouver campus to deliver them, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not,
Yeah.
it might be a Tuesday morning with the truck.
All right.
Hey, Mark, what are you up to on Tuesday morning?
Yeah, I'm helping you.
Good. We're solving problems here.
Dude,
That's good.
highlights, man,
Yeah.
we can name 1,000 things. Like, wow, what a great weekend. I think of, let me just point to 2. Okay, well, let me point to 3. At West, it was our biggest Sunday. It's been a year. Today marks the birthday for West.
Yes.
Which
So-
did that get lost in the shuffle a little bit?
A little bit. But we
Yeah,
we
it's
had
okay.
fun. We had it.
But
We
that's
announced it.
really cool.
We announced it. So it was 1 year. It's like we had our most kids ever. It was great. That was really, really fun. And I think of 2 things that really came out to me. One was just the feeling in the auditorium when you were teaching, Matt. It felt a lot like people were going, yes, yes, yes. Like as you were naming things and pointing to God's design and fellowship and friendship and all that, it felt like the whole room was nodding. I'm like, oh, we are affirming these biblical truths. We're affirming them as a community. That felt so good. And then I ended up looking down the row when we passed buckets because I was in the second row, and I'm like, dude, where's our bucket? And it was held up because a guy was trying to fill out a connection card.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's taking his time there. Like he was like really spending time on it. But he wanted so badly to get this connection card in the bucket. I didn't recognize him. I think they're a new family. That he was willing to endure the like awkwardness of holding up the bucket
Yeah.
so that he could get his connection card in the bucket.
Yeah.
And I was like, here's a guy. I don't know his story at all. But something about the message, something about what we're talking about made him go, I have to get this in the book.
Oh, that's cool, Mark.
So that was I watching that. I was like, take your time, bro. I'll individually take that connection card back for
kidding.
you. You know.
Yeah.
But just it touched me. Yeah.
It's fun to hear because all of us, I remember a couple months ago, we're sitting down and we're casting vision for and coming up brainstorming like, okay, so what would a homecoming weekend look like at New Heights? And our goal is this. I mean, what you're saying is help people connect with one another, help people connect with God's word, help people connect with Jesus. And so to hear you describe like, yes, this is what's happening. They're connecting with each other. They're connecting with Jesus. They're connecting with God's word. It's like, okay, like mission accomplished. That's what we're hoping to achieve this weekend. Totally. So it's really fun to hear those stories. Corey?
Yeah, for me, it was probably putting the boys to bed last night. Always ask the same question every single night. Dad, tomorrow, what day will it be?
Okay, that's
And
fun.
I go, it's Sunday. And then he always asks the follow-up question. What does that mean? And I go, it means it's church day. I said, it's homecoming weekend.
Yes.
And Trevin interrupts. He goes, wait, we get to do that again?
Yes, because he was here on Thursday. Yeah.
And it was just like Trevin being so excited about, all this. And I know, Move Up Sunday is very geared towards the next generation, but that we do an event like this, special Sunday like this, weekend like this, so geared towards kids that they want to be here.
Yeah.
That just did my heart good as a dad.
That's cool. All right, so are you going to tell the story? You got to tell the story that you told during the service host.
You told that story?
Yeah. This is the sweetest thing.
Sorry, you told it during the closing comments after the service.
So, Trevin, because our kids, they ultimately end up coming to 3 services, 1 on Thursday night, 2 on Sundays with JC. Trevin being 6, he's more of like I've already heard this lesson. Well, I already know what I need to know. Like, we've been having him come into the service with us on Thursday nights.
I love that.
And so he was in your message. And so then fast forward to Saturday, we're going to a birthday party. He's writing out a birthday card for his friend. He draws a picture of them as stick figures. They're either high-fiving or holding hands. I didn't figure it out, but it says on there, 2 are better than 1.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
And it was just so sweet to see, and I go, buddy, I was like, where'd you get that idea? He goes, Mr. Matt's speech.
Yes.
So that was awesome. I think the highlight for me today was just lobby conversations.
Yeah.
One, talking with a person about how do I have a relationship with God. Then 2, about I have a relationship with God. How do I take the next step of baptism? And then there was 3 people today who were like, I need to get plugged into a group. How do I do that? So sending them to Natalie. So that was just really the fruit of today and the content that, what we talked about.
Corey, I got to say, maybe not a highlight. And did you regret any comments that you made during a football toss? Now, we need to bring these guys up to speed because it could be arguably the low light of.
Did you say something you regretted?
No.
You didn't regret it. Okay. No. All right. So let's set the stage. If you weren't able to join us at homecoming weekend this week, then we put a little foam football in the hands of everyone who came in through the auditoriums, and then we had people write their names on them, and then we did a countdown, 3, 2, 1, everyone throw, and everyone throws those foam footballs across the auditoriums, and we all try to land them in these baskets, and we collect all of them. So of course, 99% of those footballs are falling on the ground, and 1% are actually making it in the baskets. So Corey is doing service host at this point, and he's talking everyone through, and it's kind of this wild, crazy moment, and everyone's cheering and laughing and having fun. And so Corey, why don't you go ahead and share with these guys how the thing that you thought would be the best comment to make at the end of this little exercise with all these footballs scattered across the floor of the auditorium.
I said something to the effect of judging by the looks of the results here, it looks like y'all play for the Seahawks.
Oh,
brother.
Hang on. Let me defend our Hawks, okay?
Yeah.
Because Geno Smith had the highest percentage of completion rate in the NFL last year. So,
dude, for me, it's all about poking the bear. It doesn't even matter how true it is. I was bantering with them, trying to get them engaged.
Corey, I have never seen a group turn on you as quickly as I did.
I did it at the 9:30 and I did it at the 11. The 9:30 was split reaction. 50% appalled that I said it, and 50% thought it was hilarious because they probably support another team or just have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly.
But 11 o'clock was definitely, I was like, I'll do it again. And they were they were not fans.
Too far, bro.
Yeah.
Too far.
Yeah.
We almost had a community prayer for Terry Wren because the Rams
okay.
and the Hawks are playing today.
Right.
Oh.
So
Yep.
you could be praying for Terry.
No, all
because-
right. So you bring up Terry. That's perfect. I have one question and one comment about Terry. So oftentimes when Hawks play the Rams, Terry's going to set up a little side bet, little side hustle between whichever team wins. The other guy has to wear the jersey the next Sunday.
Yeah. He's slowed on that in recent seasons because the Rams haven't been there.
Right.
So I noticed he didn't want to make that bet with me
Okay,
today.
so there wasn't a bet today.
No.
Okay,
No.
all right.
And he'll listen to this, so T, just know that that's my grace to you, that I don't double down when
okay.
we're in a winning season.
All right.
By the way, the Hawks are beating the Rams right now, so.
You already looked it up.
He texted,
All right.
no, Terry texted me.
Oh, he did.
He texted me, the Hawks scored a field goal, and the Rams scored a touchdown.
Uh-huh.
So he just sent me a text, 7-3, not too long ago.
Okay.
The Hawks are up. I haven't responded yet, so.
Yeah. So I mean, when you're listening to this podcast, just know that right now
We're in the middle of it.
the game is happening, and but folks, we're not checking phones. We're here. We're really locked
we're
in.
live.
We're locked
We're
in. Yeah.
live.
Okay. So that was my question about Terry to you. So you won't be wearing a Rams jersey, and he won't be wearing a Hawks jersey next weekend at New Heights
Years
West.
past.
Yeah.
JP
Okay.
and I have each put on the Rams jersey and the Rams helmet in front of our church.
Except the difference between you and me is that shirt was about 3 sizes too small. I'm like in front of a bunch of people, like peeling the shirt down. Oh, it was horrible.
Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, so then my follow-up comment there is part of the podcast for this particular series, this series that we're calling Forming Friendships in a Lonely World. One of the reasons why I was so pumped to have you three on this podcast is because we're talking about friendships. You all are not only colleagues, co-workers, but you're friends. Like all of us here, we're friends in this room. So over these next few weeks, we're actually interviewing different sets of friends as it relates to the topic at hand. So next week, one of our guests is Terry Wren.
Hey,
Yes, so Terry Wren's coming in along with Steve Bowe.
that's great.
And so one of the topic for next week is forming friendships while you're serving side by side together. And so both Terry and Steve have served side by side for a number of years. So we're going to hear a lot of Steve Bowe and Terry Wren stories. Next
buckle up.
weekend. Yeah. So next week we got a great podcast lined up. Week after that, like I said, for the next couple of weeks while we're going through the series, we've got these different sets, these different individuals coming in and talking to us. So, but for this week, we just wanted to kick things off to hear from you guys, and thanks so much for reporting back on homecoming weekend on each one of your campuses, sharing with us about your summer. And I really, really love working with you guys and doing ministry alongside of you. And so pumped that we get to take these few minutes here and just kick around some of these stories and highlights. So thanks, you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Any final words on behalf of your campus, on behalf of homecoming, on behalf of all that we have lying ahead of us?
I always have something going through my mind, and when you're talking about just friendships in this table, it's like that's a huge blessing in my life right now, is you guys, and we do work together.
Yeah.
But I know you would call me out on something if you saw it in my life, and I know I love you guys enough to say something to you, even if it's like hard to say if I saw something in your life, and you guys just help me be better, and I think that's part of how God designed it, and I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, appreciate you guys.
That's cool.
I did want to say the reflecting on the summer, the Pivotal Moments series, heard so much positive feedback on that, and I love that so much. But for me personally today, there was a little bit of homecoming, and that just last week I was at East, and for 5 weeks was away.
Right. People said, good to see you.
Yeah, they're
I was
like, where were you?
Yep, the rotation.
My bad.
But for me, only being here this month, 18 months, how connected I feel, like my heart knit to New Heights, and now specifically the Central Campus. And it was good to hear. There were a few people who said, we missed you, you know.
Sweet.
But that's how I felt towards the people here. And it was just, JC and I just love being here and love being a part of New Heights as a whole, but specifically the Central Campus.
Yeah.
But
That's a real thing.
I echo the same thing you said, though, with this crew of guys. I just appreciate y'all and how, help make me better. And it's a blessing.
Love hearing that. Thanks, Corey.
Yep.
I've been thinking a lot about with this series, Matt, and the content of it. Just the first lesson that humanity learns, right? Which is it's not good for man to be alone. It's the first lesson they learned before the fall. And I've just been thinking a lot about that, being, it was God's design for us to be in relationship, not only with each other, but with him. And we're supposed to do that together.
Yep.
And I thought about, when you brought in the third chord today, and I was thinking about like the first marriage fight is Adam and Eve, and they're blaming each other and what broke their relationship with God.
Yep.
Like that broke, and then therefore they broke, and the whole thing got messy. And it's still messy, but Christ met us in the middle of it. And so I don't know, I was just really just head nodding a lot today, man, and just excited for this series and for us to look at that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that you mentioned the lesson of it's not good for a man to be alone is pre-fall.
Yeah.
Because in Ecclesiastes, I don't think we touched on this too much in the passage, but under the sun in Ecclesiastes typically is meaningless. But under the sun, there's still this redeeming factor when it comes to relational connection with one another. Not that, it goes to the cord of three strands, so it still needs Christ in it. But there is something that is inherent to the design of humans that makes us wired to be in relationship with each other.
You bet.
And it's not a result of sin in the world. It's literally baked into how things were supposed to be.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. That's a phrase that I kept saying. We were created to be in relationship with one another. We were created that way, created that way. But the truth is, we screw it up. We mess it up.
Yep.
And so, but I'm so grateful that God's given us his word, instructions, examples of how we can trust him, seek him, and we can discover, we can learn how to start relationships, how to grow relationships deeper, how to maintain them. And so that's what we're looking at here for the next couple of weeks.
Exciting.
Yeah. So you guys, thanks. Thank you so much for being here to kick off the podcast with us this week. So grateful for each of you.
Likewise.
Paul Heath, as always, love having you in the studio, my friend.
Thank you, sir.